Welcome, everyone. We're going to talk about NXT, Great American Bash. Not nearly as good as last week, but some interesting things happened, so it ought to be fun to go through. But first, news and notes. First note, only note, most interesting note, NXT will be doing arenas for their CW debut on October the 1st and October the 8th. October the 1st will be in Chicago. October the 8th will be in St. Louis. Now, the St. Louis show is interesting, considering it will be going head-to-head with AEW Dynamite, which they're calling AEW Title Tuesday. So, for the CW shows, WWE will have a hometown star appear for both episodes of NXT. So, on the 1st, it will be CM Punk will be making an appearance on NXT in Chicago, and on October the 8th, Randy Orton will be making an appearance on NXT in St. Louis. Now, a lot of the AEW fans are already grumbling because, of course, WWE is going to put main roster guys on the show the day that they're going head to head. I think they should be thankful it's only Randy Orton. And I got a feeling that by the time this show airs, it won't be just Randy Orton. Depends on how AEW decides to maneuver and change what they're doing. They may decide to do another Will Ospreay, MJF hour-long match on that show. Then you might end up with Randy Orton actually wrestling on this card. Because they did tease Tommaso Ciampa being on the show too, due to their, thigh slap situation from a couple of years ago. But then again, it might have also been a joke, so who knows. But I'm okay. I think this is good. I don't know if they're going to have NXT continuing to move around like this. It seems to me like they're going to do these two shows and then go back to a studio and just stay there. That's weird. Like that's a really odd decision. If these two episodes are going to be special, they should brand them, I think. I don't know what you could call them in terms of like special events, but that's what I would go with. Especially if you're going head to head with Dynamite on one of these nights. Even though it's not cable, but it's still head to head. So I would look at it as if it's a competition. Okie dokie. Shall we go through Great American Bash and my extreme frustration with this show? Okay, so Hank and Tank, they're going to have a barbecue. They're doing a vlog. They're having a barbecue. There's a bunch of backstage segments that feature these two guys just doing random things. And NXT does these backstage segments that are pretty hilarious. They're hilarious in how kind of corny they are and how cheesy they can be. So Sol Ruka is backstage, and her and Jada Parker is looking at Dion Lennox, and Ashanti Dia, I don't think they should be looking at him. Turns into Lola Vice and Jada Parker arguing about who should be the number one contender for the women's title. This turns into that sexy BJ Ray from the Next Up or Next Level or whatever show that popped up, came and went, and nobody talked about it, nobody cared about it. He's still there. I thought he was gone already, but it was apparently somebody else from his crew that's gone. He got put through a table, but it was some of the most gentle table powerbomb I've ever seen from a bunch of girls. It was top 10 dumb. Didn't get it, didn't understand it. Later on, Shawn Spears is talking to Brooks Jensen, who, says he owes him a word because he's the one who convinced Ava to bring him back. So Roxanne Perez is overhearing a bunch of people talking about who she hasn't beaten yet to get a title match. And Mr. Stone, who was in a wing eating contest with Stevie Turner, decided he was going to make a match featuring all the women that Roxanne Perez has not beaten yet. But then Stevie Turner punched him in the face and stole his idea. And then the Good Brothers showed up. They were talking about how the food was trash and the juice was trash and the drinks were trash and everything was garbage. And Hank and Tank beat them up. So I really did not need the Hank and Tank stuff. Look, they can be, big, jolly, fun-loving guys, but I didn't need this. I could have did without it. But I do like the idea. I think they've only done this once or twice before, where they actually put emphasis on people that the champion hasn't already beaten. So I do like that they're doing that with Roxanne, where they're saying, hey, Roxanne has, been running through the roster, but there's still people she hasn't beaten. So let's give some spotlight to the people she has not beaten yet. I like that idea. I think they should do that with pretty much all the champions. People who haven't had a chance to challenge, at least get one freebie. You could put it on TV, it doesn't mean anything. Or you could actually use it as an opportunity to lift somebody from the mid card. I'm not saying that the person should win, but as an opportunity to be showcased. Or, as I expect this to be, it's going to be an opportunity to debut somebody that they have waiting in the wings on NXT. It's probably not going to be none of the girls that we see who is like Carmen Petrovich and some other girls who all look the same. So I don't expect none of them to get the shot. Match 1. Trick Williams is defeated by Pete Dunne. Now, look, man. I know what they're trying to tell me. They're trying to tell me a story here, right? They're trying to sell me that Trick Williams is off his game. He's not focused. He's not ready to challenge for the title again. He's too unfocused. He ain't figured it out yet. I know. That's the story they're trying to tell me. But under no circumstances should Pete Dunne be pinning Trick Williams. That's just doing yourself such a wide disservice. It's pissing in your own orange juice at this point, man. I can't deal with this. I cannot. Sean, usually I like what you're doing, but you had an off day. This one is not good. This one is sour. This is a sour move right here. Small foot European guy with all this face acne or whatever, it's not good. It ain't good at all. I don't think you should book Pete Dunne to beat Trick Williams. Even if you were going to have Pete Dunne challenge for the title, which is what it seems like they were going to do, considering that's the next segment. You see Pete Dunne talking about, beating Trick Williams and hey, if he's not ready, I surely am. And then Trick Williams walked him down and punched him in the face a bunch of times, being a real sore loser. Never mind. Let's just move on. Kalani Jordan defeated Tatum Paxley. The match was actually solid for the Women's North American title. Tatum Paxley is, she's okay. She's still very generic spooky, but Kalani Jordan still very generic athletic, but I think it worked out fine. Tatum Paxley did a 450 splash, but Kalani Jordan ended up kicking out of it. Wendy Chu was watching creepily after Kalani Jordan won with a frog splash. She's still in Rob Van Dam's frog splash. I just realized she's from Michigan, I think. She went to Michigan State, and Lansing is, I don't know how far Lansing is from Battle Creek. I don't know. But Rob Van Dam is also from Michigan, so it makes sense. They have that one connection. They're both athletic, bendy, and do the splits. So, Kalani Jordan wins. And then Wendy Chu attacked Tatum Paxley and seemed to choke her out or something. I don't know. That was weird. It was interesting. I guess Wendy Chu was next for Kalani Jordan. All right. I guess I don't have a problem with it, and I can't argue against it. Kalani Jordan needs a personality. She came out and did the LeBron James had the powder on her hands, the old Big E thing. I don't know what that was about. I guess it was supposed to be like an Olympic thing. I don't know. The girl has a lot of potential. She's an upbeat baby face. She just needs some seasoning. She's very bland. She's Kroger brand rotisserie chicken right now. Gotta add some spice. All right, so Ren Sinclair wanted to be in the No Quarter Cash crew, right? That's the story. She walks up to Charlie Dempsey and she thinks Tavion Heights got put into the trunk of a car. They try to tell her, no, he's in that crazy tournament over in Japan. She's like, yeah, I bet he is. And they're like, yeah, he's literally in Japan. And she doesn't believe that he's not dead. She thinks that they killed him. They did not kill him. He's still in Japan, wrestling in that tournament. Anyway, she wants to get into the No Quarter Cash crew if she beats Kendall Gray tonight. Charlie Dempsey said no. Then Tony DAngelo offers Charlie Dempsey a Heritage Cup match if Ren Sinclair wins. And Charlie Dempsey accepts it on the grounds that he wants that Heritage Cup championship match, and if Ren Sinclair has to win in order for him to get it, he's okay with that. So, as they're talking, Obafemi marches through. He seemingly bumps into people and he's, talking to himself or whatever. And that raises the ire a little bit of Tony DAngelo. So later on, Obafemi announces that he's going to be defending his championship next week against anybody. I guess it's an open challenge. And then he is cut off by Tony DAngelo, who says he's going to be defending his Heritage Cup as well because Ren Sinclair defeated Kendall Gray. Now, Kendall Gray is smooth. She is a legitimately, probably of the nondescript white girls that's floating around NXT, she's probably the best in the ring. I'm talking, her suplexes look solid. She looks like she knows what she's doing. None of her stuff looks dangerous. I mean, she has very little experience, but her angle slam looked really good. She even did the old Gangrel double underhook suplex where you grab both arms and flip your opponent over. And she looks good. She looks solid. I mean, she needs a personality like a transplant. But my goodness, her in-ring stuff actually looks good. Ren Sinclair is a decent personality. Her in-ring is okay. I know she's been doing this for a while because she's been on the indies for a long time. So, but I think Kendall Gray is probably better than her in the ring. Anyway, Ren Sinclair wins. Miles Bourne was outside the ring, kept trying to distract Kendall Gray and kept failing. The girls keep bullying him, pushing him over and all this kind of stuff. It's really weird. So now Ren Sinclair is in the No Quarter Cash crew, and Charlie Dempsey will get his match with Tony DAngelo. I'm very intrigued at how they're going to do this, because it seems to me that they're slowly but surely building up an Obafemi Tony DAngelo match. That seems to be the direction that we're going in. Maybe they'll have Stax or somebody like that challenge Obafemi first, but it seems like we're going to end up going title for cup kind of situation. And if that's going to be our way of getting rid of that damn Heritage Cup, I love it. I would love it if that's our way of getting rid of that Heritage Cup. Please let Obafemi beat Tony DAngelo for that cup, and then we don't have to do it anymore. I like that. I like Tony DAngelo. Everybody knows that. But I hate that cup. I'm not a big fan of that cup. Not a big fan of those rules, brother. Don't like those rules, brother. Match 3 on the show. Oro Mensah is defeated by Ethan Page. It was an okay match. Ethan Page remains boring. I mean, when was the last time somebody was the NXT champion and they wrestled in the third match on the show? It ain't Oro Mensah that made it the third match. It's Ethan Page, by God. They were outside the ring forever. It really, Ethan Page powerbombed him through a table. I'm like, bro, they outside the ring forever. Referee's discretion. Like, please don't use that excuse. I do not want to hear about referee's discretion. Just get these guys back into the ring, please. The finish, Oro Mensah tried to do a springboard. He slipped off the top. That led to the Ego's Edge, and so Ethan Page wins. So this about 2 months push they've been giving to Oro Mensah seemingly is over. It's over. It's dead in the water now. I'm guessing we gonna have Noam Dar return, because he's been gone for a while, unless he's legitimately injured. I have zero interest in Pete Dunne versus Ethan Page. I really have no interest in that. None whatsoever. Pete none interest. No interest whatsoever. It's not good. Don't like it. Don't want it. Don't want none of it. Match 4. Joe Hendry defeat Joe Coffey. Joe Hendry pulled a Eddie Guerrero to get Gallus ejected, which was funny. Joe Hendry just wins the match. So hopefully this thing is over. After the match, Joe Hendry says he likes being in NXT. He might stick around a lot longer. He's going to be here next week. If anybody cares to try to stop him. Legit, Joe Hendry said that there was a deal between WWE and TNA that will allow him to use the Performance Center whenever he wants, which tells me he's pretty much under NXT contract. They won't say it, but it seems like he's under NXT contract, and they're letting him use the PC already. That's very suspicious. That's very suspicious. He's on NXT every week now, seemingly. Very suspicious. Just go ahead and make the announcement that you bought his contract out, or you're going to give this guy to NXT. I like Joe Hendry, man. Big deal, this Joe Hendry guy. I like him. Okie dokie. Next, Chase University is going to get a tag team championship match because Ridge Holland pulled some strings. But it's going to be Ridge Holland and Andre Chase, while Duke Hudson and Riley Osborne were looking awkward at each other like, do you believe this shit? And you're like, yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it. Javon Evans, they did some more background on him, how he did not want a backup plan because for him, wrestling was everything. He talked about getting a picture with Lord Tensai in 2013 when he was 9 years old. And he says now he's his coach in NXT. Then he was asked, where does he see himself in 10 years? And he just looked dumbfounded and was like, I guess I'm going to have to grow up in front of your eyes. Like, well, yeah, I guess so. Well, I don't know what the point of this was. Like, he's 20. He doesn't have a lot of life to talk about, really. You know, there's not a lot going on, brother. Anyway, it was okay, I guess. So I guess the only thing we got left is the main event, yes? All right. Tag Team Championship, Nathan Frazer and Axiom versus MSK. Earlier in the evening, Wesley said he had some dark days here in NXT. Had to try to figure some things out when he was off on his own, but hanging with his bros is the best moment of his career. And it's time for MSK to get back the Tag Team Championship that they had never lost. They go out there, they have an incredibly athletic contest with Nathan Frazer and Axiom. And Nathan Frazer and Axiom win the match. Wesley takes the pinfall. And then they did the big hug at the end where Wesley and Wentz and Trey Miguel, they were all hugging in the ring. The acting was shitty. The Trey Miguel was teared up. Terrible acting, by the way. And Wentz was even worse later. And at this point, I was becoming very frustrated. You know, not because they lost. You know, I was kind of agitated that they lost because I'm thinking they doing this big reunion tour. Why not just give it to him? I mean, it's not like, again, Wentz, he doesn't work for WWE, which is probably why they lost. But my God, you could have done something really fun with you know, the Rascalz and all of them being a team. But once they started doing all the hugging and they got the ovation, I'm like, somebody got to beat up somebody. I thought that the Rascalz was going to turn on him because I figured Wesley was going to be the eternal babyface. I was shocked and thrilled that Wesley was the one that turned on them. When Wesley kicked Trey Miguel, for starters, Trey Miguel put himself in perfect position to get kicked by moving at least 6 feet away. Not 6 feet, probably 6 inches away. It got kicked in the face. No, I was probably right about 6 feet. And then Wentz is like, what are you doing? That's your brother. And then he gets kicked in the balls. So Wesley starts seething that Wentz left him alone, left him by himself. And he starts beating up Wentz. And he throws Wentz outside the ring onto the floor. He takes Trey Miguel, throws him through the wall into the barricade behind the wall. and then knee smashes Wentz against the wall, against the metal stairs rather. I like this. I like this. I think this was needed. Wesley has been a babyface his entire run in NXT so far. And he's been in NXT a long time. He's been in NXT about 3 or 4 years. This run has been pretty lengthy. And it was time, bro. It was time. And using the Rascalz reunion tour as a way to launch it, I like this. Good. This was very good. So now maybe Wesley will have a personality. He needed that. He needed to be individualized away from these dudes. Like, even when he was by himself, he was still doing the mannerisms and the affectations of the MSK gimmick. He needed to break free of that. He needed to get loose of it. This being his Shawn Michaels moment, to get away from his Marty Jannetty. He needed this moment. I am more interested in him now than I ever have been before. I think he absolutely exhausted everything that he could do as a babyface. And this was a nice little patch that they put after he lost the North American title. So now you got this guy who has lost everything. He had the big return from injury, wanted to be the North American champion, get back the title that he never lost, and then he lost the match. You know, he lost a singles match to Obafemi, and he didn't know what to do. Just in the nick of time, the Rascalz reunion came. And that worked out for a little bit. That was fun. He never lost the tag team championships either. He wrestles for the tag team titles and loses. So now he has officially lost everything. He could always hang his hat on injury took away the North American title, and his friend getting fired took away his tag team title. But now he has lost both of those things in the ring. He's no longer the lineal North American champion, nor are MSK the lineal tag team champions. So now he's got nothing. There's nothing for him to hang his hat on. There's got to be something else. I like the idea of him moving on. He needed a new personality, and now this is going to give him that opportunity. I like this. So this was my favorite part of the show. You know, I loved the turn. I thought the turn was fantastic. So, some people on the internet thought that Josh Alexander was going to be on NXT, and they sought to spoil it, but there was no Josh Alexander. So maybe next week you can try it again. But NXT was fun. It's always a fun show, even though I don't agree with the decisions. It wasn't as fun as last week. I think last week was better. Last week also did a horrible number on, but I forgot that they moved it to Sci-Fi. So I was really gonna trash talk like, man, why is nobody watching this show? But then again, they moved it from USA to Sci-Fi, so I guess you can just accept that the number went down. But this week was not as good. But they planted some seeds for some interesting things that are likely to be done in the future, such as the Obafemi Open Challenge, the Women's Championship. I forget I don't know what you want to call it, but like the opportunity for other women to get in. Finally breaking Wesley away from that nonsense for with MSK. Ethan Paige finally closing the book on Oral Mensa. So there's some stuff there to look forward to in the future. And that's what NXT is all about. All right. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.